Hey yo, what's going on? What's going on? How are y'all doing? It's the Y2K Collector with the end of month recap here. Let me wipe this camera off, man. It's a little dirty. It is a little dirty. Look at that. Got all the smudges out. Man, is that a little clearer? Yeah, that looks a little bit more clear. What's going on? What's going on? A little impromptu live action here we got going on. Give a few folks some time to jump into the room. Boom, look who stepped in the room. Um, yeah. September was a wild month, man. It was a wild month. This month was a lot busier than I anticipated, and it's still going, man. It is still going. So much to recap from this month, not only from a pickups standpoint, but from a YouTube content standpoint, just a gaming standpoint. Just so much has gone down in the month of September. And it's crazy because this is the last, like this month held the last bit of summer in it. So, now we're getting into the holiday season, and you can feel the shift in terms of just availability of video games. You can sense a shift in retro game sellers, people who are selling games, people who are trying to, you know, revamp their collections, get games out of their collections. It's definitely, you could feel the shift. So, but it's definitely a good amount to talk about. I am not going to keep you guys here on the live too long tonight. It is Tuesday night after all. I mean, I know it's the end of the month, but it's still a Tuesday. A lot of people have a lot of things to get up and do tomorrow. So I do want to kind of keep it somewhat short and sweet. But what I've done is I've pulled out two of each. I got a bunch of games in September, right? So I'm not going to show every single game that I picked up in the month of September, but I figured I pick out like the top two games for each console and kind of just recap those games, talk a little bit about why I wanted to add the games into the collection. And then I'm going to share two of the last pickups that I got for the month of September. Two more really quality titles. Rob, what's going on? How you doing, man? Yeah, so at the end, I'll show you guys two more titles that I was able to get my hands on. Charles, what's going down, man? How you doing? Before the end of the month. So I've got about what, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So about 18 games that I'll go through with you. It ranges from, fourth generation all the way to sixth generation, which is like my primary range. I like to stay within that range. Actually, third generation. I got some third generation in there, and we'll talk about it, and then I'll share these last couple games with you. So first up, let's dive into it, right? Let's not horse around. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So the first two pickups that we got for the Sega Genesis during the month of September. Oh, by the way, one thing I forgot to mention, every game that you're going to see in this video were games that I picked up from, you guessed it, GameStop, right? So GameStop is where I got pretty much all these games. Didn't have time to go to any of my local mom and pop retro game stores. Some of them are farther away than I have the time to really get to during the week. So it's a bit of it's definitely a bit of a challenge. And GameStop is just super convenient. I'm also going to say that about 70% of the, I would say, yeah, well, I'd say about 65 to 70% of the games also in this batch that I'm going to show you were games that I got online. So that's the other crazy part, is that, what you can get by shopping on their online store. I'm not sponsored by GameStop. I'm not paid by them. I'm just putting you guys up on game. That's really it. Like, I mean, I'm putting you guys up on game. A lot of people say go to your mom and pop shops. I say I'm the follow the path of least resistance type of guy, right? I don't care really where I get the game, as long as I'm getting the best value, the best price, the best condition. That's really what I'm looking for. So I'm not partial in either direction. And what I've found, especially over the last few years, is that GameStop just happens to be cheaper than most mom and pop shops. So let's dive into it. So the two Sega Genesis games that I got this month were Outrun for the Sega Genesis and Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was an in-store pickup. Outrun was an online purchase. I was actually blown away because this is the first Sega Genesis game I've ever ordered from GameStop's website that actually came with a case. It was a pleasant surprise. Unfortunately, if I had sound effects, I would play the sound effects, but womp, 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 womp. Unfortunately, no manual, but the cartridge is in pretty good condition. No manual, cartridge was in good condition. I was satisfied with that. I got more than what I thought I would get, so I'm not complaining. Solid pickup. And then as far as the Sonic 2 was complete. Again, kind of shocking. I mean, kind of shocking to find a complete in-box Sega Genesis game at a GameStop. It is what it is. I'll take it. I'll take those wins where I can, because these days at least in my area, I don't know about your area. I know there's some YouTubers who they're always finding like complete in box PlayStation 1 games, complete in box Sega Saturn games. We don't have that in my neck of the woods. So to find these retro gems at a GameStop was pretty cool. So these two were the two Genesis games that I picked up this month. Since you guys have already seen them, I might as well show you the two Super Nintendo games that were picked up this month. The two Super Nintendo games were so Looney Tunes B-Ball. This is a Sunsoft game. Really cool. Like I'd never even heard of this game. When I saw it, I was like, Looney Tunes B-Ball? I was like, I gotta check that out. That looks really unique. So grab this one. And then Indiana Jones, another one that I was glad that I picked up. The detail in this game is actually pretty astounding. The sprite work and the detail is actually really good in this game. And then this is like a Looney Tunes NBA Jam. That's basically what this is. It's like NBA Jam Looney Tunes version. Really, really awesome playthrough. It's a little bit more difficult than NBA Jam. NBA Jam is like, I don't know, you could have never played a video game before and still do decent in NBA Jam. This one feels a little bit more technical. I got my butt kicked by Elmer Fudd and Wile E. Coyote the first time I played this game. I barely scored, so I'm gonna need to take a little bit more time with this one. But these were two really sweet Super Nintendo pickups. Both of these came by way of the online store. So these were two online pickups. Wasn't mad at that at all. Those are the two NES pickups. Next up, we'll go to, SNES pickups. And then now we have the two NES pickups. I've talked to you guys about these two already. Won't take too much time here. But A Nightmare on Elm Street for the NES and Vice Project Doom. Way more impressed with Vice Project Doom than any of the other pickups. This is a really good game. It starts off, it opens up immediately with a ton of action. It's like almost like a top-down shoot 'em up. Then it transitions into this like side-scrolling platforming hack and slash shooter. It's just really, really cool, really interesting game. As the main character, you have three weapons you can choose from. You choose a sword, you have a gun, and then you also have grenades. So really unique gameplay, very good for the NES. Was really stoked to get this one. Freddy's okay too. Freddy's a decent game, but Vice, that's the one right there. So was really stoked to snag that one. We can go to a little handheld action. So I'll show these two. So first we have Duke Nukem, that is. So Duke Nukem on the Game Boy Game Boy Color rather. Pretty decent side-scrolling shooter, and that's what you're gonna notice. Most of the games that I'm gonna show you here are action platformers, side-scrolling shooters, or hack and slash games. Maybe a couple RPGs here and there, but that's my forte. So I've never really been big into the Duke Nukem series, but this was a really cool way I felt to kind of dive into it. So this is one that I added in here. And then Pokemon Platinum. So this was the one DS game that I picked up this month. Both Duke Nukem. Oh, sorry, by the way, these two NES games, these both came in online. So these were online pickups. Forgot to mention that. And then the same thing with Duke Nukem and Pokemon Platinum. These were both online pickups as well. So not bad with those two. I was pretty pleased with those. Then we have some standard Game Boy games that I picked up here. Got these earlier in the month. Most pleased with Batman the Animated Series. Was just one that you don't see that often. I feel like this is the most rare Batman Game Boy game. You have Batman Forever, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Return or Revenge of the Joker, and then Batman the movie. And Return of the Joker is my favorite Batman game on the Game Boy of all time. It has the best music, in my opinion, and the best gameplay. Batman feels really like Batman in that game. This Batman feels like the animated series Batman, which isn't like isn't bad or anything, but the Batman in Return of the Joker feels like Michael Keaton Batman. I think that's why I really like that one. It just feels a lot more like that, even more so than Batman the movie. Batman the movie, that Game Boy game plays like a run and gun shooter. So I don't even know what that's about. But this one's good. This one's good. This takes me back to the WB days, after school Batman animated series. Very good game. Not mad at it at all. And then you have Gargoyle's Quest, a very cool platformer as well. This game is better than you would think it would be. And why wouldn't it be? It's by Capcom. Very good game. Do not sleep on this game. I actually have my eyes set on picking up Gargoyle's Quest 2 for the NES. That might be a pickup that I go for before the year is over. But this is actually a really good game. So I'm glad to add that one. Let me pause real quick and catch up on some of these comments here. Happy Tuesday, everyone, from Daniel Berry. Happy Tuesday to you, Daniel. Robert M says, ordered Knight's contract for the PS3 off GameStop. Should be coming in tomorrow. Also scored Magus for PS3. Heard it sucks. Looking forward to playing it. Yeah, Knight's Contract is actually a really cool game. It's a little demonic, though. Knight's Contract is a little demonic, especially that opening scene where the demon lady comes and she basically crushes the child to death. I was like, damn, that's a little gruesome. For the PS3. So Knight's Contract is a little gruesome. For those of you who don't know, you play basically as like this like, you know, that lost, forgotten hero with the, you know, hack and slash. She's got this big sword, and basically you play with this witch, and this witch gives you she uses her power. You have controls in the game that allows you to use her power. She fights alongside you like an NPC. It's a really good game. Knight's Contract is a really good, it's like an action RPG game, kind of open world-ish. It's a little linear, but it's a really cool game. Congrats to you. Echo the Dolphin and NBA Jam must-haves. I agree. This is Get Your Game On. Get Your Game On. I am on the East Coast. Get Your Game On says, I'm 43. I grew up playing everything from Atari to PS5 and PC gaming. Nice, nice. Wow, I don't think I ever Freddy and Nintendo. I played a lot of Friday the 13th. Yeah, Freddy was, I guess, the more exclusive one. Richard Foster 2 says, got Vice Project Doom off of Facebook Marketplace deals years ago. Yeah, that game is pretty tight, man. Awesome hobby. I love collecting. I just found original Xbox from a thrift for 20 bucks. Damn, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. All right, let's keep it going. So 2 more pickups we have here. These are probably my 2 favorite Game Boy Advance pickups. We have Pokemon Sapphire. This is a real copy. You guys confirmed it for me. Not going to talk too much about that. You guys know what Pokemon Sapphire is. And then you've got Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury. Really cool kind of RPG Dragon Ball game there on the Game Boy Advance. So really cool stuff. Got a lot of good cartridge-based handhelds, and even got some cool disc-based handhelds as well. Got a complete in-box copy of Half Minute Hero on the PSP. Yes, I still collect for the original Game Boy, and I still collect for the PSP. I've still got collections for both of those. This is actually a super clean copy of this game. It was complete in box as well, so really good copy, super cool game. It's an RPG. This is one of the few RPGs that I picked up this month, but all in all, solid game. And then the PSP game that I'm really most excited about, Metal Slug Double X. For those of you who've never heard of Metal Slug Double X, this is definitely a sick version of Metal Slug. You can choose from one of 6 characters. Awesome Metal Slug level design, great gameplay, a lot of action, great music. And if you have a PSP, this is definitely one that you want to get. I know that Limited Run re-released this. I think they put it on the Vita and the PlayStation 4, if I'm not mistaken. So this was one that I was really glad to find. Oh, I forgot to mention. So these 2 were online pickups. This was an online pickup. This I picked up in store. These 2 were online pickups. When it came to these 2, these were 2 that I actually found in store. So I was really psyched. And I remembered when I found this one because this one was only like $30. And for those of you who know, Metal Slug Double X is like a $70 game on the PSP. I don't know how much it is on the PlayStation 4. It might be more, but it's still pretty decently expensive on the PSP. And this one was complete and not in too bad shape. So this was probably one of the best finds in September. I was really stoked to find that. Keeping the train moving along, we'll go back to some console-based games. Next up, we have this bad boy, Mega Man X Command Mission. I've had Mega Man X Command Mission on the PlayStation 2 for quite some time, but after playing it on the GameCube, I realized the GameCube version is superior graphically. You guys could argue with me down in the comments and let me know, but I feel like Mega Man X Command Mission looks better on the GameCube. It just does. It doesn't look as kind of like pixelated and grainy. The graphics on this game are cell shaded graphics, which are kind of hard to mess up. Cell shaded graphics are almost timeless. Cell shaded graphics are almost as timeless as like 2D sprite based graphics. They just don't really age at all. But you see the difference on the PlayStation 2, and so I wanted to get the GameCube version. This copy was really clean. The manual was in pretty pristine condition, pretty good condition. Not really bad at all. So I was really glad about that. This was a really cool add to the collection this month. And then, of course, we have for the GameCube Def Jam Fight for New York. Now, these were 2 GameStop online pickups. Yes, online. Ordered both of these games on their website, and bada bing, bada boom. They sent me probably one of the cleanest GameCube games I've ever gotten from GameStop's website. This copy of Def Jam Fight for New York had a really good manual, almost not a scratch or a wrinkle on it. The disc was in great condition, and I can't be mad, you know? GameStop does mess up a lot. They do F up a lot, but when they come through, they come through. They came through for me on these online pickups, so I wasn't mad at that at all. All right, we're going to wrap it up with 2 PlayStation games, and then I'll show you the last 2 games that I got for the month of September. These were the last 2 games that came in today. So next up, we have this copy of Rez on the PlayStation 2. For those of you who know, you know. Rez is a sick first-person shooter style shoot-'em-up game on the PlayStation 2. This is a rhythm-based shoot-'em-up game, and the concept is one like I've never really seen before. So basically, you play as what I'm gonna call, you play like, you start off as like this little square piece of data, and you have to, you know, shoot your rays at these, you know, these little different, you know, I guess cube-like structures. And as you blow those structures up, they release like these little chips. And as you continue to collect these chips, you go from being like this cube to taking on what looks like a stick figure shape, until eventually you take on this humanoid form right here. And once you kind of reach this form, your rays are much stronger, your attacks are much stronger, you can do more damage. But the level design in this game is amazing. It's simple but amazing. Like, they really leverage the simplicity of the level design in Rez to maximize the grandiose feel of the game. Like, you really feel like you're in this cyber universe. I don't know, I'm gonna really age myself right now. I'm gonna age myself, but for those of you who are old enough, you might remember our cartoon show called Ghost Rider. It used to come on PBS. Ghost Rider. I don't know if you guys, I know I sound old, so probably the younger people might click off, but Ghost Rider was a TV show that came on PBS, and there was a in the show, there was in one of the seasons where Ghost Rider basically had to go into like the cyber universe to like to fight against like this virus that was infecting people's computers. And this is what I think of when I think of Rez, like Rez, because the whole game takes place in this cyber universe. So I know I'm gushing about this game because it's really good. Like, and it's cheap. It's not even expensive. This is like a $25 game. This is not an expensive game at all, but it's really fun. So if you like shoot 'em ups, if you like first person style games, and if you like games with rhythm, I strongly recommend you check this game out. And I was glad when this one came in the mail. It did come complete, and I was like really happy that this one came complete, because it's hard to find complete copies of Rez these days. And look at that manual. Look at that manual. I was like, damn, GameStop must have just been holding these on stash for me because, geez Louise, did anyone even play this? I was like, did anyone even take the game? And I'm not going to take the disc out, but the disc had zero smudges on it. The case was super clean. And I was like, thank you, GameStop, for holding it down, right? The last game that I'll show you guys is another PlayStation. Well, the last of the recap games is this copy of Battle Assault 3. For those of you who know, I was a big fan of the Battle Assault series. I had Battle Assault 1 and 2 on the original PlayStation. When I sold off a bunch of PlayStation 1 games at the end or the beginning of 2022, I sold the first two games. I was really mad. I'm mad because those games are expensive now. Like I think Battle Assault 1 and 2 are both like around like $40 each, I think. I want to say they're probably somewhere in that neighborhood. And I'm not really trying to just cough that up for Battle Assault. So I've been trying to find, like, I've been trying to piecemeal it together. Like, if I could get the disc for like 10 bucks and then try to find the case and manual, then I'll do that. Either way, this was one that came in the mail from GameStop's website. And again, they came through with the completeness. This isn't as clean as some of the other ones. This one did have a little bit of wear and tear on the manual, but still complete, man. I mean, I can't get mad at when it's complete. I mean, it was complete. And this was one that came in the mail. So definitely stoked about that. So these are just the top like 18 pickups that I got. I picked up other games. If you've been watching my pickups throughout the month, you'll know that I picked up other Sega Genesis games, other handheld games, but including games like Ape Escape 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 2, you know, other games on the Gamecube, Scalar, different games. So there's been other games that I've added, but these are the ones that like were the coolest to me. And they range, right? Some are on the cheaper side, you know, some are as cheap as Sonic 2, which is like a $15 game. Some are as expensive as Def Jam Fight for New York, which is a $200 game or a $175 game, right? So it kind of just ranges. We've got some good stuff in the middle with Battle Assault, which is like a $40 to $50 game. Same thing with Command Mission, $40 to $50 game. Rez, which is like a $20 to $25 game. Metal Slug Double X, $70 game. So it just ranges, right? And I think I'm happy with just the mix of games that we got this month. I'll go ahead and show you the last two games that came in. But before I go ahead and show you the last two games that came in, let me jump back to these comments. Ralph Taylor says, hi Y2K, I have a question. Since I was collecting since 2011 and stopped in 2020, what is the reason of people buying retro gaming for collecting at full price? There's two reasons why I could think someone might buy a game at full price. One, because it's a very rare game. Like they're not gonna find it anywhere else. Maybe it's a game you've been looking for a really long time. You've gone to thousands of yard sales, you've gone to hundreds of pawn shops, you've scoured Facebook all day long, and you just can't find it. And so if it's a game that you really want to have in your collection or a game that you really want to play, you are going to buckle down and bite the bullet and buy that game. I give you a good example. Like one of the games that's really intriguing to me these days is a game called Dragon Fighter on the NES. I think it's a very unique game. It's a combination of a side-scrolling shoot 'em up and a platforming hack and slash game, where when you're playing as a human in the human form, you have this sword that you can attack with, but then in the game you can also transform into a dragon mid-level, right? But the only thing is that when you transform to a dragon, the game automatically begins to auto scroll you to the right the same way it would in a shoot 'em up. I think the concept in Dragon Fighter is a very interesting one. So that's a game that I really like. However, I highly doubt that I will ever run into a copy of Dragon Fighter anywhere, right? Because there's only like 5 copies on eBay. You know what I mean? So that's going to be a tough one. Or take a game like Hagane. Hagane is one of my all-time grails. I'm never going to run into a copy of Hagane in a store. Like I've never seen a copy of Hagane in a store. So it's just rare, right? So I think that would be the one instance where you might pay full price for a game. I think the other reason why someone might pay full price for a game that maybe might not be as rare as like a Hagane or something is if it's a game that they're finding in exceptionally good condition, right? So let's say it's a game that there's a lot of copies of that game out there, but all of the copies are toast, all of the copies are thrashed, they look like garbage. If you happen to find that one copy that's actually in really good condition and you're like an OCD perfectionist, like most collectors are, then you might think the condition supports paying full price as opposed to trying to nickel and dime someone and save 20 or 15 bucks. You know what I mean? So I think it's the game. I think it depends on the game, and I think condition plays a big factor in the people's willingness to pay full price, and then also ease of attrition. Like, how easy is it to acquire? Because you got to think, right? If someone was selling, let's say you had a $200 game, right, and you found it on Facebook, and the person selling it was 60 miles away, right? But they're 60 miles away, and they were gonna sell you this $200 game for $140. Well, yeah, you might be saving $60, but now you got to drive 60 miles somewhere, right? So it's the gas, it's the wear and tear, but most importantly, it's the time. I can always get more gas, I can always buy another car. I can never get time back. And I think what game hunters, where they misplace value, is they really misplace value on their time, right? I can always make more money if I pay you an extra $20 for a game. If I pay you, right, like if I pay you full price for a game that I could have got for $30 cheaper, but that $30 was going to cost me 4 hours of my day. No, man, my 1 hour, to me, is one of my hours is worth more than $30, a lot more than $30. So I'll happily give you the $30 to save myself the time and just move on in life, right? So I think people's willing, I know I give you a really long answer there, but paying full price for games is really a subjective thing, and it's a personal thing. It's based on where you're at in life, it's based on how you value your time, it's based on your financial means and how you perceive value in a game. That's it. um Nam Omar hit me with the fire emoji. What's going on, Nam? Kino, I ordered my first Wii game yesterday. Metal Slug Anthology. Nice, nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. Richard Foster says, got Bloody Roar Primal Fury on the GameCube, complete in box, 20 bucks, and memory card was in it. Ever play that one? Oh, you're going to be surprised with what I'm about to show you. Just Dave says, Y2K, what's good? What's going on, man? 4K Dozer hit me with 4 fire emojis. Common games, not rare. Okay, yeah. So I think, I answered that. GameStop more risky than eBay. It definitely is. GameStop is easily more, it's Russian roulette. It's Russian roulette. So going back to who said that they got Primal Fury. So I guess we ordered from the same place, because the game that came in for me today was Primal Fury. So I got Primal Fury on the GameCube. It didn't come with a memory card, but it did come complete. Oh, it's in my GameCube right now. That's right. I was playing it. I was playing it earlier, so that's why the game is not in there. I was like, wait, where's the disc? And then I remembered it's in the GameCube. So yeah, I got a complete unboxed copy of Primal Fury from GameStop, ordered it online, not mad at it at all. Really good deal there. Again, I'm always down when the games are complete. I'm not mad at all. And then the last pickup of the month, this one was actually a fluke of a pickup, a big fluke of a pickup, but I'll show it to you guys. Shining Soul 2 on the Game Boy Advance. So here's the funny thing, is they charged me for Shining Soul Part 1 and sent me Shining Soul Part 2. So, I'm conflicted. Do I bring it back? I mean, I don't even know if there's a price difference between Shining Soul 1 and 2. But this was a pleasant surprise. I'm not mad at it at all. It's better than not getting Shining Soul at all or getting a fake copy of the game. So I'll happily settle for Shining Soul coming in the mail there. But ultimately, a pretty decent RPG, and overall, just a really cool stack of games. I mean, look, September turned out to be a much busier month than I anticipated, game collecting wise. I didn't think that I'd be able to find this many games at GameStop's website, but what I've noticed is that they've really opened the vault and they've really dumped a lot of things out for people to pick up. And I'm talking everything from Dreamcast to Sega Saturn. I think I even saw a Sega CD game or something like that. I can't remember. No, it wasn't a Sega CD game. I definitely saw a lot of Genesis stuff. So they've definitely dumped a lot of stuff out. And honestly, it's just super easy, right? It's super easy to go on there and spot things. In most cases, the games that they have, they're cheaper than eBay, right? Or at least the games that I'm buying. The games that I'm buying are cheaper than eBay. All of these games that you see here are underpriced by at least 20 to 30%. Def Jam Fight for New York, I'm pretty sure was like 115 bucks, whereas a complete in box copy of this game on eBay is like 170, 175 bucks. Battle Assault was probably like 35 bucks, whereas Battle Assault is normally like a 45 to $50 game, right? I already told you about Metal Slug XX. This was like about 30 bucks. No, this was about 35 bucks. This is a $70 game. Command Mission was 35 bucks, another 40 to $50 game, right? So it's I'm not getting reseller prices, and I don't need reseller prices. If I can get a good deal or pay less than eBay, I'm perfectly happy with that, right? I don't need to I don't need the Phoenix resale discount. I just I'm just not trying to get, fleeced for a retro game either. Because if a game is good, it's good. Usually expensive games are expensive because they're good. You have some expensive games that are not good and expensive, but the games that I like to buy are typically expensive because they're good games. Um, so that's what I got this month. September was also a wild month, just content wise. It was a wild month content wise as well. And I'm going to talk about the content once I go through some of these comments here. Hey, Y2K, going through my games and realizing, why did I buy these? I got to do some curating. Yeah, man, we all go through that, bro. And it's funny, we all go through it usually around this time of year. Around the holidays, when you have time, when it's cold outside and you're indoors more and you're sitting in your game room or wherever you keep your games and you're staring at the wall or you're staring at your list of games, you're probably like, why do I have this game? We all go through it. I would say if you have anything to get rid of, I would try to get rid of it sooner than later. Lucas says Shining Souls 1 is like 15, Shining Souls 2 is like 70. Is that really the price difference? Shoot, I'm glad I got Shining Souls 2. Just Dave says I got Urban Rain for a good deal recently. Been wanting that for a while. Urban Rain. Urban Rain is that's what, a PS3 game, right? Urban Rain. That's like is that the PS3 kind of like a open world hack and slash game? Kind of plays like a prototype or something. Am I thinking of the right game? Urban Rain? Urban Rain? Urban Rain. No, that's a beat 'em up. I'm bugging. Urban Rain is the beat 'em up on the PlayStation 2. I'm like, hold on, why am I not? Yeah, Urban Rain is a beat 'em up on the PlayStation 2. That's what it is. Yeah. Yeah, Urban Rain is a good one. Urban Rain is a good one. I don't know which is better, Urban Rain or Final Fight Streetwise. I always go back and forth between those two PS2 beat 'em ups. Then you also got Bouncer and what's the other one? There's another beat 'em up they got on PlayStation 2. Um, let's see. Strong Hand says, "What's your advice for a new NTSC SNES collector? I primarily buy on eBay and at a local shop and get much better deals. What's my advice? I don't know, bro. I don't really have any advice. I guess my advice would just be to buy what you like. Buy the games you like. Buy the games that you know you'll play. Buy the games that you will play regardless of how expensive they are or how much you can get for them on the secondary market. Buy what you like, bro. That would be my advice. Um, if you're thinking about games that like fun games, if you're asking what are fun games, if you don't already have these games, get the classics, bro. Turtles in Time, Super Castlevania 4, Contra 3, Axlay, um, you know, uh, get the stuff. Don't just go and get Mario World and all the Mario games. There's a lot of really cool things on Super Nintendo that are not Mario related. So yeah, look for that stuff. Ralph Taylor says this days the best way is to not sell to resellers. I like to trade with resellers, man. Because resellers want a lot of the stuff that I don't necessarily care for. They want the stuff that's going to sell easy. I want the stuff that's hard to sell. Because I usually kind of want that off the beaten path stuff that the general public isn't looking for. Games like Rez, games like Vice, games like, battles. Like most, these aren't games that people are like looking for. Like, man, I really want a copy of Rez. Like, people aren't looking for that. But me, I like Rez. That's a really fun game. So it just depends. But all in all, look, crazy month September. Just had a lot of really interesting content flying around. Was able to connect with a lot of people this month. I think the channel grew some this month as well. We're inching our way to 8,000 subs. That's kind of crazy for me, right? Because I never really intended on never really intended on the channel really getting bigger than 1,000 subs. So the fact that we've built this community over here is really cool. And I appreciate you guys rocking with me for, geez, almost 5 years now. Because I started this channel in 2020. It's gonna be 5 years real soon. So 5 years, wow, time flies, man. Time flies. And I honestly just started this channel because, like everyone else, I was locked in my house. I couldn't go anywhere, and I was talking to the same, 3 or 4 people every day, the people in my house. So I wanted to create a way to talk to more people about games. So yeah, man, look, appreciate you guys rocking with me. September was a crazy month. I have a feeling October is going to be even crazier. This is my opinion, but we'll see what happens. Until then, you guys rock out. I will see you in October. It's the Y2K Collector. Take it easy.